Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and there's more to talk about with iOS 18. We're waiting for iOS 17.4.1 and iOS 17.5 betas, and much more. This is your weekly Apple News update for the week of March 18th, 2024. Now, Apple has a new store opening in Canada's Square One Mall next Saturday on March 23rd at 10 a.m. This was actually captured by someone on X or Twitter, Apollo Jaudi, who took some photos of it where it says, "Get ready, great things are in store, Apple Square One," and the date that it opens. So it looks like it's ready based on some great photos here. And so if you're in that area and you're able to take some photos and you're going there, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Now, Walmart has actually started selling MacBook Air M1 for $699. That will get you 256 gigs of storage or 8 gigs of RAM. Also, not long after this, Best Buy actually started offering the same MacBook Air model for $649. So if you've been waiting for a MacBook, it's a pretty good price. Even though it does have lower end specs, it works great for regular tasks. You can even edit 4K video from your iPhone on it without any problem. Spotify is now accusing Apple of blocking app updates in the EU. So this could lead to another lawsuit in the European Union for Apple, maybe a settlement or something else, but they're saying that Apple's blocking some of the latest updates. Apple Vision Pro apps can actually now be viewed without an Apple Vision Pro. So maybe you've been thinking of getting one or wanted to see what apps are available. You can now view those on a website here where you can see it. I'll link it in the description below, but you can see the latest apps for Apple Vision Pro by category with business apps and more. There's not a ton of them based off what we have with iOS, but the overall library is growing. We're seeing more and more games, apps, photo and video apps every single week. So be sure to check it out if you've been curious about that. Now, if you have an older MacBook, but it still has the butterfly keyboard on it, you can still actually get it fixed if you're having issues with it up until the end of March. The keyboard service program is about to expire, and you can see it here. Again, I'll link this in the description, but you'll have until the end of March if you have any of the eligible models, basically from 2015 on, and if they're eligible, they'll be listed here, but you'll have to bring it to Apple, go to an Apple certified service center or call them and make an appointment to get it resolved. So that's something you can do, and you only have a little bit of time left. So make sure you do that if you need that. Also, iPhone 15 models are starting to be assembled in other places around the world. They're now being assembled in Brazil for the regular iPhone 15 models to diversify the supply around the world. So we have some assembled in China, some in India, some in Brazil, and elsewhere. We know Apple's been working on AI, and they've recently published a new research paper going over a new method for training a large language model for that AI. You'll see the actual paper here, and again, I'll link it in the description, but if you want to check it out, it goes over the different methods and everything else if you want to download the paper and see what it's all about. So it's all about machine learning. We're expecting that to be a big part of iOS 18. Now, before we talk about what's rumored in iOS 18 and more, there's deals this week again on AirPods Pro 2. These are not expected to be updated for some time, so they still should be good. They're down to $189.99 still. There's deals on iPads, Apple Pencil, Beats Studio Pro are still $199, which is a huge amount off if you've been wanting some of these, and there's many more. I'll link them in the description if you want to check them out. Now, when it comes to macOS 14.4 actually has some bugs for a few people, and Oracle is actually warning that macOS 14.4 has a bug that's causing it to terminate Java unexpectedly. Now, this may or may not be an issue if you're not using a lot of Java-based code, but for some people it's going to be a big issue. So if you haven't updated to that version yet, I would hold off for the next one. So we're waiting for that, along with iOS 17.4.1. Now, as far as when that should be coming, well, we should expect that on probably, it could be later today, could be tomorrow, but I would expect it sometime this week. It seems like it's ready. Many different websites show it in their analytics already, and we're just waiting for Apple to release it. Also, Apple stopped signing iOS 17.3.1, so they typically do that about a week or two before they release another one, so that, again, sort of confirms we're waiting for this here to actually launch. Along with that macOS 14.4.1 update, we expect maybe some bug fixes, security updates, maybe a feature, but usually they're bug fixes. Now, with iOS 17.5 Beta 1, we're still waiting for that as well, and Apple seems to be delaying it a little bit, maybe to bring it in line with what they did last year as far as their overall timeline. timeline. Last year, we had it toward the end of March. This year, we had it at the beginning to comply with the European Union. So it looks like probably toward the last week of March, we could see that update, iOS 17.5 Beta 1, along with all the other betas, visionOS 1.2 Beta 1, and watchOS and more. So I would expect maybe the beta next week, and that would go along with maybe an announcement of WWDC 2024. Apple typically announces it in March. That will actually have June as far as the date of it. We could have it on June 3rd or June 10th. We don't really know for sure. And then they'll send out invites a little bit later. But usually they announce that it will be taking place in June, and they give a date at that point. We're also waiting for iOS 18 to be shown off at that WWDC event. Apple's expected to change the name of Apple ID with iOS 18. This was in a recent story, so if you go into your settings, go to your Apple ID, you can see it here. They're expected to make it named Apple Account. That's according to MacRumors first, and now Mark Gurman has said it this week as well. Also, I mentioned last week how Apple is planning to bring a new hearing aid feature to the AirPods Pro in future updates. They're also supposedly going to be working on a feature that has a hearing test as well. So that's something we heard this week from Mark Gurman. We're expecting that, along with many other accessibility updates, design overviews, maybe some other changes that we're not expecting, and hopefully sort of a redesign of different things. I would love to see a different control center, maybe have split view and other things as well. Apple is apparently in discussions with Google this week to use some of Gemini AI's technology, and they've been talking to OpenAI as well. That's expected to be integrated with iOS 18, maybe with Siri and more. Maybe they just need some patents that Google or OpenAI hold, or maybe there's some technology they need to use or they need some help. Either way, I would expect Apple to use maybe parts of it, but not all of it, as they would want their information private. This is just something we're hearing that Apple's working on as of last night, according to Mark Gurman. Mark Gurman also said this week that Apple is about to start production of the next generation AirPods to launch later this year in September or October. Basically, it would be a replacement for AirPods 2 and 3 and basically have different changes with improved updates, improved fit with the next models, improved USB-C charge cases, as well as a mid-tier version that's said to offer noise cancellation along with Find My options to track the location if you choose them. So it looks like we could have that this year with AirPods Pro 3 launching next year. So it looks like we'll get a refresh of AirPods 2 and 3. They'll still keep both models as sort of a low-end and mid-tier option, and then move on to the Pro models next year. I thought for sure they would update all of them, and we haven't really heard a whole lot about AirPods Max, but hopefully we'll get an update to them as well. So AirPods Pro 3 look to be next year, at least based off the current information. Apple's also apparently working on a version of AirPods that have cameras in them that can scan the environment in future versions. So what that would entail, I'm not really sure, but it looks like they're working on that. And a leaker on Twitter or X has shown that a Chinese company has created a touchscreen AirPods case, and you can see the AirPods case here with a touchscreen display on it, and this was leaked in some Apple patents in 2021. So it looks like Apple designed it, a Chinese company sort of looked at it and made their own version. So it looks like we could have a lot of changes to AirPods coming this year. Now, we've been waiting for iPads to launch. We're waiting for iPad Pro along with iPad Air, and we're expected to get OLED displays in the iPad Pro. However, this is said to be coming to iPad Air, but in 2028, according to the elec. So this is something Apple will roll out to all products over time, and Apple is also set to release the current iPad Pro and iPad Air apparently on March 26th, according to a source on Weibo named Instant Digital. They've been accurate in the past, and it makes sense. We could get MagSafe charging on the back, a new MagSafe keyboard or Magic Keyboard, and maybe some other changes. We're expecting it to be thinner, lighter, maybe better material, more durable, and a camera that's on the side so that it's vertical or in the right place when you actually have it in landscape. That makes a lot of sense. We've seen it in the latest iPad or regular iPad, and they'll be bringing it to all of the models, it seems. When it comes to iPhone 16, well, we keep hearing more and more, and it looks like Apple's ramping up production on them very soon. We're expecting an enlarged action button, and you'll see all the fingerprints on my iPhone here. We're expecting a larger action button, a capture button as well that would go along on the side, maybe making it easier to jump right into capturing video or photos. And also we're expecting larger displays, just slightly larger to fit the same frame, but be slightly larger, maybe 6.9 inches. We're getting an updated 5G modem, it seems, and updated cameras as well, with maybe a new design on the iPhone 16 regular model that leaves them vertical like we have here, here so you can capture spatial video and audio. We're also expecting updates to the chipset inside to take advantage of the new AI features in iOS 18. Now, we've been waiting for some updates to Apple Watch. We've been getting very minor updates, and it looks like all signs point to Apple Watch gaining a way to actually check blood pressure. So we could see that with the next version, Apple Watch 10. And then also Apple continues to work on bringing micro LED to Apple Watch, but continues to find it difficult as maybe the suppliers just aren't meeting the quality that Apple wants. So micro LED has been a bit of a pain for Apple, it seems. They were supposed to bring it to everything as it's the sort of next technology after OLED. So instead of having just OLED, it would last longer, have better colors over time, where OLED can lose some of that color quality over time. Apple is also apparently working on a smart ring still that would be something you could wear on your finger instead of wearing a watch, and it would measure your steps, maybe some other things such as your heart rate and more. This one's from Ultrahuman. They were nice enough to send it along. You can see there's different sensors in there as well, and it seems to work well, but it's something that I'm not sure that everyone would want. Samsung's been working on one, and it seems Apple is too now. As far as anything else, well, Apple continues to work on Vision Pro with new apps and more, and it is a little bit buggy, so I'm hoping for an update here as well that continues to improve things such as personas or just apps or pinching it all together. Let me know if you have an Apple Vision Pro and if it's something you want me to cover more in these news videos or in other videos as well. So that's everything this week with the news. Lots of things to look forward to with iOS 18. The iPads should be coming soon as next week, at least the announcement, probably launching in April, and AirPods later as well. If you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.